January 17, 1945, Adolf Hitler retreated into the Führerbunker, the deep underground shelter beneath the Reich Chancellery in the heart of Berlin. Nazi Germany was collapsing fast. The Allies were advancing from the west, and the Soviets were storming into the capital from the east. Amid the thunder of artillery and explosions, Hitler sat, tired, older than his years, his hands trembling, fully aware that the end was closer than ever. Have you ever wondered, in the middle of the night, did Hitler really die? Or did he escape? The official story says that moment was his final end. But from that very day, another story was born. Was it really Hitler's end? Or the beginning of the greatest escape legend of the 20th century? Welcome to Midnight Reflections, where curiosity never sleeps. Now let's find out. Where curiosity never sleeps. Hitler's decision to commit suicide wasn't sudden. By late April 1945, European cities were falling, and Himmler, his most trusted man, was secretly negotiating with the Allies. A betrayal that shattered Hitler's last bit of trust. Then came the news that sealed his fate: the brutal execution of Mussolini and his mistress, their bodies hung upside down for the public to see. Hitler feared the same end: captivity and humiliation. He decided to beat his enemies to it. On April 29th, he married Eva Braun, a symbolic gesture before the end. The next day, he said his farewells, distributed small gifts, and admitted he could no longer go on. Then, he entered his study with Eva. Moments later, a gunshot echoed. The most widely accepted version claims Hitler shot himself with a Walther PPK, while Eva swallowed a cyanide capsule. Their bodies were immediately burned in the Reich Chancellery garden, so that no trace would fall into Soviet hands. But Stalin refused to let the story end so neatly. Even though Marshal Zhukov confirmed the suicide, Stalin himself spread doubt, claiming Hitler might have escaped to Spain or even Argentina. It was a deliberate move to keep the Allies anxious and alert. And that's how one of the 20th century's biggest conspiracy theories was born. The Soviets hid crucial forensic evidence, like Hitler's jaw and teeth, feeding the uncertainty. Later, declassified FBI and CIA files revealed the Americans actually investigated rumors of Hitler's escape. The mere existence of those reports was enough to fuel suspicion that the official story was incomplete. And why Argentina? Because it was already a safe haven for dozens of Nazis after the war. Josef Mengele, the infamous Angel of Death, escaped there. Secret smuggling networks, known as the Rat Lines, moved hundreds of Nazis to South America. So, was it really impossible for Hitler to be among them? Supporters of the escape theory point to mysterious eyewitnesses who claim to have seen him on Argentine farms, questionable documents suggesting he flew out of Europe, and even the story of a trained double planted to die in his place. Declassified U.S. intelligence files are often used as evidence that governments knew more than they admitted. Meanwhile, Soviet contradictions and secrecy only gave these stories more oxygen. But against this, the historical record holds strong. After the war, Americans and British interrogated Hitler's closest aides. Otto Gunsche and Heinz Linge both confirmed the suicide. Hitler's final actions, his farewells, his symbolic marriage, his distribution of keepsakes, were the acts of a man preparing for death, not escape. Then came the most conclusive evidence. In May 1945, the Soviets found charred remains, among them Hitler's jaw and teeth. In 2017, French forensic experts matched them to Hitler's dental records. That was the scientific nail in the coffin for historians. True, there was controversy over a skull fragment later revealed to belong to a woman, but this didn't support the escape theory. Instead, it showed the Soviets had deliberately manipulated information. The teeth, however, remain the undeniable proof. And yet, the escape theory lives on. Why? Not because the evidence is strong, but because the official truth that a cowardly sick man ended his life in a dark bunker feels unsatisfying for a villain of Hitler's scale. People crave a more dramatic ending, a global manhunt, a secret life in Argentina, a mysterious fate. It's a search for narrative justice that reality never delivered. But let's face it, more than 80 years have passed. Even if Hitler had escaped, he would be long dead today. The real question isn't whether he died or fled. It's whether we are truly better off without him, or if his spirit lives on in others. The truth stayed buried in that Berlin bunker, but the legend still wanders forever in Argentina. Now you know. Got more midnight questions? Drop them in the comments. Stay curious, and I'll see you in another Midnight Mystery.